What Machiavelli understood 500 years ago, that intelligence can actually be a liability in power games. The skills that make someone competent frequently differ from the traits that help them gain authority. Like a chess game where the rules suddenly change, those who master the hidden dynamics of power often outmaneuver those with traditional talent. What truly matters in leadership might surprise you. The Machiavellian paradox: intelligence as a liability. Contrary to what many of us assume, intelligence might actually hold you back from gaining power. This is one of Machiavelli's most surprising insights, though he never stated it quite so directly. In The Prince, Machiavelli wasn't concerned with morality or intellectual pursuits. He focused entirely on the practical mechanisms of acquiring and maintaining power. And within this framework, certain qualities we associate with high intelligence become surprising liabilities. Think about what intelligence typically brings: nuanced thinking, careful ethical considerations, and awareness of complexity. These qualities make for brilliant philosophers and scientists, but in the raw pursuit of power, they become significant handicap. Someone who sees all sides of an issue might hesitate when decisive action is required. A person who weighs moral implications carefully might miss opportunities that less scrupulous competitors would seize immediately. Machiavelli understood this paradox centuries before modern psychology had a name for it. His concept of virtù, the set of qualities making a leader effective, wasn't about virtue in the moral sense. Instead, it centered on practical efficacy, adaptability, and the willingness to act decisively, even ruthlessly when circumstances demanded it. Someone too intelligent, too caught up in ethical contemplation, might lack this essential quality. The fate of Socrates provides a perfect historical illustration. He was arguably the most brilliant mind of ancient Athens, a man whose intellectual prowess remains legendary. Thousands of years later, yet his relentless questioning and pursuit of truth led not to power, but to a death sentence. His famous admission, "I know that I know nothing," demonstrated remarkable intellectual humility and marked him as politically vulnerable. Meanwhile, throughout history, populist leaders with far simpler messaging have captured the loyalty of masses and risen to extraordinary heights of power. Complex thinking operates like a maze. The more pathways you can see, the longer it takes to choose a route forward. While you're mapping every possible turn, others simply charge ahead. Just as history demonstrates through Socrates' fate, modern research confirms this counterintuitive relationship. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Management discovered that intelligence positively correlates with leadership effectiveness only up to an IQ of approximately. Beyond this threshold, additional intelligence actually becomes a hindrance to leadership emergence. Why? Exceptionally intelligent individuals often struggle to connect with others who cannot follow their complex thinking patterns. You might be right, but you'll be right alone. And leadership fundamentally requires bringing others along with you. This handicap manifests regularly in corporate environments where brilliant analysts remain stuck in middle management, while someone with modest intellectual abilities but strong political instincts rises to the executive suite. The technically brilliant person solves complex problems, while the politically adept person builds alliances, simplifies messages, and positions themselves advantageously. The highly intelligent face specific handicaps in power struggles. Their nuanced thinking prevents them from communicating with the clarity that inspires followers. Ethical considerations slow them down precisely when bold action might be required, and complex communication patterns alienate potential supporters. Intelligence often manifests as sophisticated vocabulary and abstract reasoning, creating distance from audiences who might otherwise support them. Consider organizational settings. The brilliant product designer who cannot explain their vision remains trapped in middle management. Meanwhile, the moderately intelligent manager who masters organizational politics continues climbing the corporate ladder. The designer's intelligence becomes a liability specifically because it prevents adaptation to what the power structure rewards. So what type of intelligence actually helps gain power? It's not raw cognitive horsepower, but rather social and emotional intelligence. The ability to read rooms, understand motivations, simplify complex messages, and act decisively with incomplete information. A leader needs enough intelligence to comprehend complex situations, but not so much that they become paralyzed by awareness of every possible ramification. Intelligence can prevent you from gaining power because the very skills that make someone intellectually capable, nuanced thinking, appreciation of complexity, ethical reasoning, become liabilities in power struggles where simplicity and bold action prevail. The person who sees 3 steps ahead hesitates while their less prescient competitor has already captured the advantage. The confidence solution: how overconfidence beats expertise. That hesitation of the intelligent leader creates a vacuum, one that overconfident individuals are all too happy to fill. What's truly fascinating is how the limitations of less capable people actually give them a competitive advantage in gaining power. Our brains have evolved with a glitch that consistently mistakes certainty for competence, creating a psychological blind spot that's been exploited throughout history by those who need it most. This cognitive bias has a name: the Dunning-Kruger effect. First identified in the 1990s by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger, it reveals a disturbing inverse relationship between skill and self-assessment. The less skilled a person is, the more likely they are to dramatically overestimate their abilities. Meanwhile, genuine experts tend to underestimate their competence, fully aware of how much they don't know. In leadership contexts, this creates a perfect storm. The least qualified individuals often project the most confidence, while the most qualified display humility and caution. Our social evaluation systems weren't designed to handle this contradiction. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology confirmed what many of us have suspected. Overconfident individuals are significantly more likely to be perceived as leaders by their peers, regardless of their actual competence. This research documented how the appearance of certainty proves more persuasive than demonstrated expertise when groups select leaders. The implications are profound. Our collective decision-making processes contain a fundamental error that repeatedly elevates the wrong people. Consider the historical case of George Armstrong Custer. Despite a series of catastrophic military misjudgments, his extreme confidence propelled him to rapid promotions and cultivated devoted followers. His final disaster at Little Bighorn wasn't enough to erase the power his overconfidence had already secured him. Custer's career trajectory demonstrates how the illusion of competence, fueled by unwavering self-belief, can override critical evaluation of actual skill. This pattern of rewarding confidence over competence spans centuries and contexts. Modern business offers equally compelling examples. Adam Norman, founder of WeWork, secured billions in investment funding despite a fundamentally flawed business model. His charismatic, bold presentation style created an aura of inevitable success that investors found irresistible. The pattern repeats globally. Confidence consistently trumps competence in leadership selection, often with catastrophic results when reality eventually catches up. The mechanism behind this confidence illusion lies in how our brains process social information. When evaluating others, we rely on mental shortcuts. Confidence signals competence, decisiveness, suggests clarity of thought. Overconfidence acts like a dazzling firework display, bright, attention-grabbing, and impressive from a distance, but ultimately hollow when examined closely. Yet, our attention remains fixed on the spectacle rather than the substance. Think about how experts typically communicate. A climate scientist carefully qualifies predictions with probability ranges and acknowledges variables. A charismatic but uninformed personality makes bold, absolute claims. This will happen, guaranteed. Our brains instinctively gravitate towards certainty, even when evidence supports qualified statements. This psychological vulnerability creates a perverse incentive structure. Those who know the least have the least reason to doubt themselves, freeing them to project maximum confidence. Meanwhile, those with genuine expertise recognize complexity and hedge their statements accordingly. Overconfident leaders physically manifest their advantage. They adopt expansive body language, maintain unwavering eye contact, and speak without hesitation. These nonverbal cues trigger deep-seated psychological responses in observers. By contrast, thoughtful experts often pause, qualify statements, and physically express uncertainty, behaviors our primitive brains misinterpret as weakness. For individuals navigating this distorted reality, recognizing the confidence illusion is crucial. When encountering unusually confident leaders, ask, does their certainty match their evidence? Are they acknowledging complexity or oversimplifying? Do they welcome challenges or dismiss them? The most dangerous leaders aren't those who occasionally make mistakes. They're those who never admit the possibility of being wrong. What psychological trick do incompetent leaders use to appear more qualified than they are? They exploit our cognitive bias toward confidence. The less they know, the more certain they can be, creating a paradoxical advantage in leadership selection. Our brains, evolved for a simpler world, consistently fall for this illusion across context, from corporate boardrooms to political campaigns.